Lydia Ko here at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament Champions. Just kind of talk about getting to play right in your own backyard and the uniqueness of that.
Yeah, I spent most of January here at Lake Nona, so it's been nice to be home. Honestly, it's been a lot warmer than it is the last couple of days, so it feels like I'm at a whole new place, to be honest. But no, this is a great way to start the season, just to be able to roll out of bed and you're already on the golf course. So yeah, always exciting to play the Tournament of Champions here at Nona.
Yeah. Just kind of talk about I know a lot of people say it's hard. This is a hard course. What are some of the different challenges of this course?
I mean, I've been a member here for quite a while now, and I still sometimes read the greens the other way around. I think there's subtleties on the green and quite a bit of grain. And just because the greens are a lot faster and the course is in pretty pristine conditions, the course does play a little bit different to maybe the middle of the year. But I think more than anybody else, I feel like the Nona members should at least know the course a little bit better. But there's no tricks to it. What you see is what you get. But you do have to hit a lot of good shots, and you do get rewarded. Being a little bit more aggressive and going for pins, and especially the smaller sections. So just being really smart, your way around the golf course is important. And I think that's what I did really well in 24.
Yeah. Just a few more before I open it up to media here. How would you kind of assess your game heading into the season? What are some of the things you've been maybe tweaking in the off season?
Yeah. Honestly, the new season comes around really quick. I feel like the Grant Thornton Invitational was not too long ago. So to kind of say that the off season is done, I'm a little sad. I think you really don't know how you're playing until you really tee it up this week. And luckily for us, after this week, we get a couple of weeks off before Thailand, Singapore, and China. So I think this will be a good way to kind of assess my game and see what else I need to work on. I've had seasons where I've started the season off well and sometimes not, and I've finished well. So I don't think just one event is a reflection of how that season's going to be. But I feel like I'm trending in the right direction. I wouldn't say I'm in the most sharpest shape, but I do feel like I've made progress, especially in the last week or so. So hopefully I can kind of put that into play and just take a lot in for the rest of the season from this week.
Yeah, and then just last one. Obviously, very exciting news coming out about you being part of the new crop of WTGL members. Just kind of talk about the excitement of getting to be on that stage.
Yeah, I have seen a little bit of what the men's have played. It's obviously a very new and different concept, but I think golf has grown, where it really used to be only like a 72-hole stroke play format, but starting with events like the Grant Thornton Invitational and different ways, golf has really expanded, and in a lot of countries, screen golf has really developed because their access to play golf courses are quite limited. So I'm excited to be part of the WTGL. Obviously, it is still a very new product, only going into the second season, even on the men's side. So I feel like we're kind of getting lucky in the sense of we're kind of coming in as it's trying to get a bit more solidified. But yeah, I've always loved team golf, and I'm not really sure who my teammates are going to be, but to be in that kind of environment is always fun. So to say I have three pretty awesome teammates, I think that's going to be really the best part of it.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and open up to media here. If anyone's got a mic, go ahead and start there. Yep.
Sorry. You've played here when it's warm. I don't know if you've ever played here when it's as cold as it's going to be this week, but what are the differences about Lake Nona playing in warm conditions versus bitter cold?
Yeah, I mean, the golf course isn't short, so when it is cold, it is playing substantially longer just because the ball isn't carrying as far. I think I hit everything short today, so hopefully I'll be able to just adjust a little bit better tomorrow. When I won here, I felt like it was pretty cold, and we had a little bit spots of rain in 2024, but nothing this cold. We had snow in Florida last year, and I thought it was one of those random things that happen every 10 or so years, and we're pretty much getting to below 0 in Celsius here, which in maybe other parts of the country they'd be like thankful, but when you're in Florida, it is a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, it's just the golf course is obviously playing longer, and I'm wearing these pants that look like comforters. So at least I'm staying somewhat warm for relatively how cold it is, yeah.
Also, there's 39 players in this field, all-time high, based on all the winners last year. What do you make of the talent level and the fact that were so many first-time winners, or just so many separate winners last year?
Yeah, I mean, the streak that we had was unbelievable last year. It's every year it becomes a little bit more difficult to win. And to have so many first-time winners last year, that was also very impressive. But I think at the same time, you got to realize some of these rookies aren't really rookies. They're people that won 7 times on the JLPGA and have had success in other tours as well. So they're not as I guess inexperienced as maybe when I first came on tour. But I think all of us just playing really well, and it just getting so competitive, it drives us to become more and more consistent, and I think we motivate each other to to contend a little bit more and just keep playing better golf. But yeah, the year that we had last year was pretty historical, and I think Gino was the only one that won multiple times. So yeah, it's hard. I'm glad I got the wins early in my career. But yeah, I think I'm still driven to play the best golf I can, and as difficult it is, I still feel I can compete at a high level. So I'm hoping personally that there'll be more moments of me hoisting the trophy at the end of Sundays.
Hi. Hall of Fame pairing for tomorrow with Annika and Charles. Can you give us a little insight into what it's like here, living around Annika, seeing her on the range, maybe when you were even younger, interactions that you've had with her that made an impression?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be in this pairing. I was super excited. All of us Hall of Famers, all of us Lake Nona residents. So if anything, I feel like we have the most upper hand when it comes to our group. But to especially be alongside Annika, I think I played with her in tournament for the first time last year here, and I was really nervous. Growing up, she was literally the name that you saw every week, and unfortunately, I wasn't on tour yet when she was ending her career. So to even have this kind of opportunity to compete alongside her is honestly a dream come true. When I think of my retirement down the line, I don't think I'm touching my golf clubs unless I really have to. But Annika's out here, practicing a lot, especially, with her son Will, out here practicing. So it's pretty cool that, even after all this time, the drive that she has to still want to win and compete at a high level. And I think that's why she's had the career that she has. People like that are different. And to be alongside greatness is always really inspiring. And it's really cool to just even hit balls next to her, because when I was in my teens, I would have never imagined a moment like this,
And obviously the Grand Slam is a big goal of yours. When you look at the venues for this coming season, what excites you about the majors and Riv, I guess, especially?
Yeah, Riviera is, I think, the U.S. Women's Open is always highlighted, on, I think, all of our schedules. But, being at Riviera is obviously very exciting. I think it's the first time the U.S. Women's Open is, hosted there. So it's, I think it's a really good step forward, not only for us, but, for our potential venues going down the road. Winning the Women's Open at St. Andrews was very iconic. Did I think I'd ever win a Women's Open? No. Did I ever think I'd do it at St. Andrews? Definitely not. So I feel like if I did win at the U.S. Women's Open at Riviera, it'd be one of those moments where I pretty much catch myself off guard because I just feel like I'm out of place. But I think, the U.S. Women's Open has always been, a career highlight. It's been something that I really wanted to win, and I think that inspiration came from Sari winning the '98 Women's Open at Black Wolf Run. And I think I'm sure even if you're not Korean, but especially if you're Korean, seeing her take her shoes off and hit that shot, I think was very inspiring to all of us. And I think just being from Korea, like she's always been that kind of role model for me, and I think that's why the U.S. Women's Open has always meant a little bit more than anything else. I haven't played particularly well in a U.S. Women's Open. I think the only time I did was really at quarter ball. So it'd be just nice to feel that pressure of being in contention, and to say I am a U.S. Women's Open champion. I think that would honestly be a dream come true. But I also said that I think I have nothing to prove now to anyone, to the point that just because I don't win that one, it's not going to put a dent to my career. It's just going to kind of put the cherry on top of the cake. So as much as I really want it, I'm not going to make it feel like, this is the end of it. It's not just white to black, and there's still a lot of things I can appreciate and take from it.
We got time for one or two more before we open it up to the Zoom.
Sari?
You're good. It's on.
Good, all right. It's only been 6 months, I guess, or so, but what's your take on Craig Kessler taking over the commissioner's job, added some new tournaments, new sponsors? What's kind of your take on Craig Kessler over the first 6 months?
Yeah, I literally just saw him 30 minutes ago, and I was like, can you believe it's been 6 months since you've taken this job? Maybe the longest 6 months of his life. But as an organization and as members of the tour, we're very appreciative of him coming on board. He's been in golf, from the PGA of America to Top Golf and many other ways. He truly understands the game and understands the player's perspective, but also the business side. And I think it's very difficult to kind of appreciate both sides of things. In that short time, I feel it's been great to just get to know him better, just as a person, outside of just being the commissioner of our tour. But with the new media rights and media coverage, with FM this year, and some of the new events and partners like Fortinet. It's been very exciting. A lot of big movement in the last 6 months. We just I think hired a new CMO, Chad, as well. So I think as an organization, we are definitely moving and trending in the right direction. Women's sport has literally been on a high for the last few years. So to kind of take that momentum, I think, is very important. And we have great leadership that can take us in that kind of journey and the upward rise. And this last 6 months has been great, but I'm more excited for what's ahead. And I still feel like there are areas that we can become better and stronger as an organization as well. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the growth even more.
You mentioned the majors. Do you know Chevron has now gone from Palm Springs to the Woodlands, now to Houston, where they play the Houston Open. You know anything about the Memorial Park, where Chevron will be, and where the Houston Open's been the last 3 years?
Yeah, I know that it's the only thing I know is literally what you told me. That I know the men's, I think, play there a few weeks before us, and I've heard a lot of great things about the golf course. Obviously, it was a really big move for us to move from Mission Hills to Houston, to Texas, especially when we had a lot of history, with the Poppies Pond and from the dinosaur times at the championship. But I think it's sometimes hard to just leave all the good things that have happened in the past. But I think for you to keep growing and move forward, I think those decisions and changes need to be made. Chevron is an unbelievable partner that has, contributed and tried to support the LPGA not only in the purse but in other areas as well. Having the junior event prior to our championship for them to get into it as well. So I think sometimes we only see it in a very one-dimensional way, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But you see how much the KPMG Women's PGA Championship has grown since the LPGA Championship days. So those changes are needed, and hopefully we can, stay at a venue where we can create that history, a rich history again. I honestly don't know much about that course, and I didn't play very well at the Woodlands, so I'm all for changing. Yeah.
All right, we got time for one last one. Jill, if you want to go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Lydia. Wondering, as an Olympic gold medalist, what it'll be like watching the Winter Olympics coming up. Do you watch the opening ceremonies? Do you have a favorite winter sport?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. These years come by very quick. The year mark last August I was like, wow, I can't believe the Summer Olympics has already been a year, and in Milan it's here. I grew up watching a little bit just because of Yeona Kim from Korea. She was a figure skater and obviously had a very successful career. So that was kind of where I got into watching the Winter Olympics. But I was talking to Danielle Kang one day, and we said, I wonder what sport we could make it in to get into the Winter Olympics, and we literally couldn't really think of anything. And it's obviously so different. We're all Olympians, but the types of sports that compete there are so different to what we do, and it's honestly feels like a different world, just because it is so unrelatable, but relatable at the same time. So I'm excited to watch a lot of the Winter Olympics coverage, and we have quite a few New Zealand Olympians that have been doing really well, in snowboarding and all that too. So definitely rooting our New Zealand athletes for sure.
And then very last one, Chantel, go ahead.
Hey Lydia, curious if there's any new equipment in your bag.
I have the new SM11 wedges, which I got last week, and I am not endorsed. Okay, I'm not endorsed, but I truly believe the Vokey wedges are the best. So I just have those, and I upgraded I shouldn't say upgraded, but I changed into my 440K driver versus the 430 10K, and it was honestly a big move which this too I'm not endorsed. I have no club deals, but the 430 10K, my coach said I almost have like emotional attachment to that driver, so it was hard decision to make, but the numbers and the shot shapes that I've been seeing on the golf course with my new 440K has been great. So those two are probably the biggest changes I've made.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, Lydia.
Thank you. My watch. This is actually my first watch over all this.
Wait, I have to put my glasses on to fully appreciate it.